Hello, hello. Nobody's probably here yet, but this gives me a chance to check this out and make sure I've got things going in the right direction. I think some things are flipped, but we will roll with it. So hello and happy, I guess it's Wednesday. My husband had a 3-day weekend, so it sort of threw me off. I have got to make a bunch of papers like this for an upcoming project that will probably turn into a series. So I thought I would use some company while I'm doing some gluing. Hey Liz, how you doing? Happy Wednesday. Are you having an awesome day? It only took me, let's see, 20 minutes to get this thing set up. I don't know why Logitech Capture and I are not being friends, but we're not. So I'm doing, that I save my really important stuff for live streams. Y'all know that. So I'm doing gluing, but it's good because then I can talk at the same time, and that's always good for me. I don't know why I had all my little notes written down and everything from last time, but it's like if you don't do things in the right order, then YouTube says, nope, I cannot see the things you want me to see. Hello, Hope. Hi, Deb. So I am doing just basic first layer stuff for some papers, and like I say, it's not like the most exciting thing in the world, but it's a good time for me to be able to check so I don't have to concentrate. Hey, Joey, I need to go listen to how to pronounce your name again because I know I'm mangling it all the time, and I have not forgotten what I mentioned to you before, that I want to talk to you about your watercolors. I was hoping to get a little bit farther in something, but this is going to turn into a larger process or project. But I thought, I could talk while I was doing this at this point. Joey is good? Okay. Somebody gave me grief the other day and said, no, you're saying her name all wrong. And I thought, well, I'll ask her herself and she can be my goal. But yeah, I just keep slowing down. I keep thinking things are calming down and I'm going to get faster at doing some of the things I want to do, and that's not happening. As I get older, I realize I don't care about getting, except for commitments, like financial commitments, I don't care about getting things done in a certain amount of time. So if I'm late, I'm late. But I do miss making videos, and I think the sunroom is not done, but I know that it's going to be a couple months before the painters come back, so we finally got everything set back up again here. Maria, hi! Oh, you're working and you're popping in. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so happy to see you. Paula, wow, awesome. 2 members of my wonderfully talented design team are here. Paula and Maria are both beautiful artists that are creating some wonderful work, and you should go click on their names and check out their channels. So yeah, this is going to be a long series when I get these papers done, so y'all will be with me the entire trip, because now, like I said, I have things set back up again. I don't know when my contractor is going to come back to work, but it's going to be at least 2 months, I'm sure, before the painters get here. And then that's when we'll have to move my desk out of the way again. I don't like straight edges, so I'm tearing all these things down. And what I have done, most of this is packing paper. And I tend to sort my scraps into copyright-free papers and scrapbook papers that I have to be aware of copyright. Checking the chat here. And so what I want to do first is just get some nice base layers down, and then I'll scan them, and then we'll do another layer, and we're going to build up a master boards bit by bit, and then I'm going to do something to the backs of them, and then they will go in the flow journals that honestly I am working on. My trouble is, besides poor time management, my trouble is that I'm interested in so many things that it's just really hard. And I know I'm not alone in that. We have so many things that we find interesting that it's hard to just stay on track with just one. So I bounce around a lot, and I've been like that my entire life. You know, so eventually you just start to accept that this is just the way you are. And spring is around the corner, which means I'm going to have to start spending some of the time outside working in the yard. Hey, Candace. Oh, you're cleaning. Yeah, you know how I cleaned off my desk because I was working on these kinds of papers the other night? I cleaned it off by taking one of my white tubs and sliding everything off of the desk into my white tubs because I just couldn't. It would take too much time to clean it all, right? That's no excuse, but still. And, you know, and I just can't bear to throw these papers out. I know I'm not alone with that. And I do have a lot of papers put aside for making actual new paper come the nice weather. I'm kind of working on my thing backwards here, but oh well. Let's see. I see a straight edge there. Well, Joey, if you don't know anything, you are an expert faker. Let's just say I want to chat with you about some artsy stuff. We won't even say watercolor, just artsy stuff. But your watercolor stuff is what captured my attention, because you've done some beautiful things with watercolors. And I love the look that watercolor gives to things, but I have such a heavy hand that I find it just looks blecky. Just looks blecky. Well, play is the key. And Joey, I think that's what's so great about your channel is that it embraces or encourages everybody. It embraces your playful side, but it encourages everybody just to play and not feel stressed about creating a journal page. If you haven't checked out Joey's page, please do. She will take away any stress you have besides just listening to her beautiful voice. I put it on in the background because I love to listen to her talk about what she's working on. But she makes sure that you remember that the whole point of this is just to have fun. Nobody has to be better than anybody else. It doesn't have to be a competition. You just have to have a good time doing whatever it is you're doing. There are people that want to spend most of their days doing just this, just gluing things down, and they won't even maybe take it beyond whatever I'm going to do on this page here, just gluing it down on that, and that's fine. Don't let anybody else tell you that you can only do something a certain way. Y'all know I have spent much of my life in the shadow of negative voices from childhood on that said, no, don't do that. No, you can't do that. No, oh, no, don't do that. And I'm here to tell you, not going to listen to those voices anymore. So let's all have a good time, whatever we're doing. Let me know down in the comments, what are you working on today or this week? What are your plans? Constance is cleaning her room. Hey, Lorna, welcome. Oh, I'm glad my voice distresses you. In my writing life, I used to do a fair amount of public speaking, and it was one of my favorite things to do. I loved it. I loved getting the energy from the audience. Even though I wrote books for kids, so I did a lot of speaking at schools. What I really enjoyed doing was speaking to adults, and I enjoyed speaking to adults that were a little bit nervous about following whatever dream it is that they had, and that needed just a little bit of encouragement to go ahead and take a chance and do whatever it was that floats their boat. And I love talking to those kinds of people. And I loved it when a few years later I would get an email or a thank you note in the card from somebody that said, I heard you speak at such and such an event, and I just wanted you to know that I just published my first book, and I'm having the time of my life. And those were just like the best things. Okay, the second best thing, well, another best thing, I can't say one is better than the other because they were completely different, is getting a note from a child who has read one of your books and enjoyed it. And that was like, whoa, mind blown. took me years to, I don't know that I ever got used to seeing my book in a bookstore or a library. That was quite a lucky lifetime for me. Hey, Tuesday, welcome. Elizabeth and Gabby, I think you're both new. Yes, I do that too, Gabby. I take my Stabilo or I take my Neocolors, and that's what I'm going to do in another layer. And edges, I love to do that. Of course, I'm making so many borders here, it's going to take forever, but that's okay. It is okay. Let's see if we can hide that straight edge. I've got a bunch of scrapbook papers I need to do this with too, but I think those I'm not going to spend as much time on them because they're scrapbook papers and I can't scan them and do other things with them. So I'll probably just sew them down like some Franken paper. Oh, thank you, Gabby. Whispering Cauldron, I have not seen you for a while and I've forgotten your name, but welcome. Happy to have you here again. Yeah, look at the packing papers. This is awesome whenever we get packages and we get packing paper. And I realized I actually have a bunch of different colors. I've got several shades of brown. I only pulled out the one today because I kind of wanted to do some tone stuff. I've got several shades of blue, and I have one that's kind of a pink. So this is like, you know, great free paper to use for other things. Elizabeth, I'm sorry. Before the holidays, my brain kind of shut down with some life stuff. So I think I've reached the point where my brain is full, and so my memory doesn't go as long as it should. I apologize. So thank you to all of you that subscribe to my channel, because today I got up and I went over to the channel to check things out and realized that I had hit 3,000 subscribers, and that just sort of blows my mind. So thank you all so much for helping me reach that milestone. There is a little giveaway going down on my community page. If you go down there and leave a comment sometime between now and the end of February, I'll do a drawing for at least one digital kit. If I get enough comments in there, I'll do more than one. Maybe I'll do one on some ephemera or something. Okay, so now I'm not weighted properly, so I just need to add a little bit more. Yeah, it's amazing to me, the YouTube community. And I'm just so grateful to everybody who is so supportive. They leave comments, they subscribe. There we go, one down, and I don't know how many more to go. But I have this idea in my head, and this is the first step, is to get the papers glued down. All right, put that over to dry. I would say Zoe says hello, but she is zonked out. I don't know what's tired her out today. Let's see. How about color? Yeah, let's do greens. These are scraps. Whoops, that's not green. These have a lot of straight edges. I'm probably going to have to leave the straight edges on these because I think it's going to be too much of a pain to tear them. And that's okay, right? I'll do one straight and see how I feel about it. If it really bugs me, I'll do something different the next time. I'm not putting a lot of glue down on these because my idea is that there will be other things like sewing and other things holding them down. So I'm not gonna worry about how precise to be. So these are mostly prints. And I have not had the jelly plate out for a while, so, and they're on the back of magazine pages, so they're not super thick. Elizabeth says never apologize. Liz is always telling me never apologize. It's bad. Do we have a habit of doing that? Do we apologize for things all the time that we shouldn't? I think we do. I think we need to stop that. It's a hard habit. I always found it much easier to apologize than to stand up and say, you know, I can do this. I did that. This is awesome. I'm fabulous. I don't know why it's so much easier for us to criticize ourselves. Well, it's not even a criticize. It's just, it's hard to stand up and take credit when we should. So these are going to end up, if they're straight edges, they're going to end up more like my patchworks that I did on index cards, which is fine, but I don't know. Of course, that's why I'm trying to use these up. They don't excite me anymore. That's why they're in the scrap basket. Hey, Robin. Welcome. Glad to see you here too. Wow, that gives me 4 people. Tuesday, Robin, Maria, and Paula, all here from my design team. That makes me just tickled pink. Oh, Lorna, so you're Canadian like you. You apologize to a pole when you walk into it. Okay, wait a minute. Now I've got to go back here. Yvonne, oh. Oh, you have a heap of scraps that you were going to toss. Oh, no. All my scraps, I've got these tubs all sorted by color, and then they're sorted by, are they copyright free or are they copyrighted like scrapbook papers? And this is a great way to use them up. This is just the first stage. I am just getting some things glued down on paper, and then I'm going to do some more layers with them. So wait a minute here. I missed something here. Tuesday, yes. Sometimes I have a hard time deciding which side I want to glue down. Lorna, I saw that you did that. I saw that you learned how to make PNG files. You are going to be on fire now, girl. It is kind of a mind-blowing experience. It sort of changes the way you look at your graphics, doesn't it? Yeah, see, this could go on my green or my purple, but since I love green best, green almost always gets my vote. Yeah, and this was me. I was trying some techniques with my jelly plate, and I'm not a good painter. I have a lot of fun playing with paint, but it's not my area that I feel like I'm really strong in. So when I get out my jelly plate, I have to play for a long time. I'm really hating the page, people. I'm really hating it, but I know this is important to continue because it's just like when I was writing a book. I could hate the page, and then things are going to change down the road. So I play a lot on the jelly plate, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And, I just sort of goofed around a lot. And then you end up with all of this. And then I doodle over them. Actually, I think these do Green's fault. It was something I saw her doing. Yeah, I'm not loving these yet. Maria, believe it or not, I just tossed a ridiculous amount of stuff from old glue books. I hope I don't regret it, but they weren't doing it for me anymore. And I know exactly what happened. What happened is once you start thinking about what you can sell, it's hard to let yourself play with things just for the sake of playing, and I should not let that stop me. You should just keep going. You always need to play. Not everything is going to be something that you're going to end up selling, and that's super important to remember that. Wow, talk about your hot mess. This is a hot mess. My poor husband. Oh, you're Lorna's husband. Yes. Oh, having your husband teach you how to do just about anything can be a stressful experience for everybody, right? My husband and I, we don't argue, but we have very different, I've got one of those already, so I'm going to save that aside. We have very different ways of approaching things. So usually when we have a disagreement, it's about the way we're wording something, and it gets to the point where it's just hysterical. I've got two of those too. All right. I'm repeating myself. I don't like that. Whoops, that's a scrapbook paper. That has to come out. Yeah, you need to know when to stop, and you also need to know when to keep going. For me, a lot of times, and it's what happened with the book too. You know, you would get to this part in the book where you're like, oh my God, this book stinks. This is horrible. Nobody's ever going to want to read it. My editor is going to think I lost my mind. Why did I decide to do that? You know, and you need to go through the book another time. And with doing something like this, it really is a matter of, you know, working your way through the process however many times you need to. So I may need to, the first layer is going to be crap, especially with the straight edges. I am really not a fan of straight edges. Wow, I had forgotten how much I didn't like straight edges. But once I get this down and then I do another layer, like maybe I will do gesso, just a real light coating of gesso would be good. I could do paint. Let's see. All right, what would you guys do when you got to the bottom of one of these green pages with all these weird patchwork things every which way? What would your next layer be? Maria, thanks for popping in. You have a good rest of your day. Hope work's not too stressful. Yeah, my husband is in the tech world too. He's an awesome explainer to anybody he's not married to. Whoops, see, I'm repeating myself for the third time. And I have a tech background. I worked in tech for a dozen years, you know, and I can do some very basic programming stuff, but it's not my passion. And my husband's isn't programming. He does other techie things. Jessa with a brayer. I got Liz. Come on, you know me. You've seen my studio. What do I have to put down? I got all kinds of stuff to put down. I got so much crud. So for some reason, these are all really big. Wow, I hate it. I hate it. And that's okay, because I will come back and show you what I did to make me hate it less. But it might take 2 or 3 or 4 layers. I need a different shade of green. And since we've started with these square edges, I'm trying to keep with the square edges. Why are these all so big? I don't know what I was thinking when I was cutting them. Oh, I didn't ask you guys. I'm right side up for you guys. I'm not upside down. I must be. Somebody would have said something if I was upside down, right? At least I think I figured that part out. Okay, that's a duplicate there. Heck on it. I'm just going to leave it. Fabric scraps. Yeah, I was thinking about my shears like I've been doing with the sheer book covers. I was going to try that. I was going to do some stitching. I was going to do some gesso. Yeah, I pretty much hate this. Whoops, there's a hole right in the center. But that's okay. I rarely get to what I like with my first draft. I mean, come on. I even edit my Facebook posts a gazillion times. Oh, let's see. All right, so one thing I need to do in front of the TV is cut some smaller bits so that I don't take time. I know I could grab the scissors and do that now, but I don't want to. I want to keep going with what's just here. All right, let's start putting things back in there. I need one more small piece is all I need. And that'll do. Okay, orientation's fine. Good. Yeah, I figured somebody would speak up. Now that I figured out how within the software there is actually a place where you can flip your camera. So it's not bad for a first layer. You know, that's okay. I'm going to cut around it, but say I'm thinking gesso. I'm thinking my sheer fabrics. I'm thinking a light layer of paint. Like I love Chinese green. It's like my favorite paint color ever, even though an artist teacher friend said, oh, you shouldn't use that. That's a horrible color. It's just, I'm sorry. It's one that makes me happy. So I was thinking maybe, you know, some kind of a sheer paint over it. I don't want to make it too plasticky, but it will sturdy it up because I'm just doing this on just standard printer paper, but that's okay. So I got two. Awesome. And then stamping, see, then I'm back to the, what I'll probably do some mark making, but I'm not going to use stamps. I am gradually sorting through my stamps, and I'm going to sell them all off, except for a very, very select few. Because I can't do some, I know I can't carve something like a ladybug. Okay, the things I'm pulling out now are ones that I know are scrapbook papers, so those will go in my other piles. All right, let's see. Let's do blue. I don't have that much blue. I have not tried tearing painted papers, so let's see. Oh, this will be interesting. If I tear it, I'm going to get those white edges, which actually will be really nice for going around it later with a neocolor or something else. Lorna, you know what? I can't wait to see what you do with the stamp carving kit. I've had one for longer than I really want to admit that I've had one. I'm petrified of knives because I'm such a klutz, but I really, really, really want to learn how to do it. I have okay, my trusty little white tubs. I do not think I'm exaggerating if I tell you I have 3 tubs full of mark making. And I love the primitive mark making you get from, you know, saving bottle caps and things in the garden. These glue sticks, they make a really nice mark. So I save things for mark making all the time. So it's not a problem doing mark making, but sometimes you want to have, you know, something that's exact, and with all the flurry around, you know, angel policy and what's good to use. And, you know, it's one thing if I'm making just a one-use journal, physical journal, then I don't mind using some of my really favorite bees and ladybugs stamps. But for stuff that I'm going to scan and put in the shop, I need to be very careful. Mark making. Mark making is anything that's going to make a mark. So I don't have any paint handy here, but if this is my jelly plate and I've got it covered with paint, and I take this lid and I put that in the paint, it's going to remove a little bit of the paint and it's going to leave a mark. And so if you start collecting household objects for mark making, you know, it's endless, the things you can do. We all have taken a piece of cardboard, probably like from a cardboard box, and you peel away the side so that you can, you know, use that as a stamp to make lines. Well, that's the same sort of thing. That's mark making. Did it get dark? This is really strange. I haven't moved my lights at all, but suddenly as I'm looking at it, it gets really, really dark. Hi, Joy. Second chance is Robin. Whispering Cauldron. So you do carving. Any tips? Anybody that does stamp carving have any tips? Because I would love to get mine out. Okay, can I tear around this flower? I love this. Definitely need to use this guy. So what I might have in my stamp making thing. So I have one tub that is nothing but circles. I use the lids from pill bottles, from different food containers. I use erasers. At the dollar store, they have erasers in various shapes. So I will grab the erasers, which I intend to carve eventually, but right now I just have them in the mark making. In the garden, leaves make great marks. Acorns, sticks of different sizes. And normally I use my mark making when I am doing my jelly plate, but you can also just use it with your stamp pad. Get out your stamp pad and get out, several things that you want to make marks with. And instead of putting a stamp on it, put your bottle cap on it. Take a bunch of rubber bands and glue the rubber bands to a piece of cardboard in just whatever random shape you've got. Start gluing some of this stuff down. So I'm always on the lookout for mark making, and my poor husband has finally learned when he cleans his office, he never ever throws anything away first. He brings it to me first and asks me if this is something that I want to keep for whatever reason. Yeah, potatoes. Oh, there are a lot of fruits and vegetables. In fact, if you look on YouTube or Pinterest, you'll find a bunch of tips on broccoli makes great stamps. Lots of, if you cut a fruit into just like in half, you'll get an interesting impression from the inside. So straight edges versus the curved edges. Anybody have a vote? Hello, Creative. Welcome from Germany. Guten Tag. I have no idea what time of day it is there. German, the language that I wish that I had kept up with. 7 years of it. But if you don't use it, you forget it. Takes more time to do the torn edges, but gosh, I can't help it. I like them. I like them best. All right, this one I've got blue on both sides. I think I can get away with that. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's a base, except that I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with the next layers, so then it sort of matters. I don't know. I just like the torn edges. And it really does help when you go to make a little, when you go to sketch around the edges later. It gives a really nice definition. So does anybody have a goal for the rest of the week, a project they want to get done by the end of the week? Mine was to get a video made, so this counts. Although I still have another video that I would like to finish too. I have a few to-do projects. Nearly 10 p.m. there. Okay. It is what? It is like 12:30, no, 1 o'clock here in California. Lorna's making journals. Yay. I like it when Lorna makes journals because Lorna is very inspiring. I wish I was better at time management also so that I would have more time to keep up with all the wonderful stuff you guys are making. The guilt at not keeping up with everything. I'm going to save that to go on the top. I have so many creative friends, and I feel really bad when I'm not on top of it. Did it get dark? I asked you that, and then I forgot to look. Yay! Tuesday's working on our design team project. Yes! Lorna, I have been lazy for the last few weeks. It's time to get my rear in gear. Lorna and lace are awesome, right? She's also the Queen Bee shopper. Lorna, you went shopping recently. Did you find some good, estate sale things? Did you come out of there with a full bag of goodies? I have a huge personal art project that I am working on. It's in the planning it out on paper stage. I don't know if anybody else does that, plan out a project on paper. This is the first one that meant enough to me that I wanted to plan it out on paper. Wow, my brain is just sort of, when I can't sleep at night, which is hello every night, I lay there in bed and kind of add to the ideas for it. Let's see if that's straight there. I just need to cut. You found great stuff, Lorna. I know some of the stuff will show up in your shop. You are an expert shopper. We don't have really very many estate sales around here. Or if we do, they're not in this area. They're a few hours away. And I don't like to drive, and I don't travel away from home well. So if something's not right in my backyard, I don't see it. I think I've told this story before, but my car doesn't get driven enough that, a couple times a year I end up having to have the car company out to jumpstart my car. Although my husband has started taking it for around town errands since his car is more of a gas guzzler. And I think that's helping a little bit. French legal correspondence ledger. Oh my goodness. I hate scanning so much. I have a stack of things probably 5 or 6 inches tall that I have pulled aside to scan, and I just cannot motivate myself to do it. I might wait until baseball season starts, because then we can bring the scanner out into the main room and I can scan while we watch TV. You love scanning? What do you love about scanning? I just find it so repetitive and so boring, and it takes so long. I actually forgot I had all these painted papers. I had done such a good job organizing stuff, and I'm bad. If it is not right out in front of me, if I don't see it right there, in front of me, I forget I have it. I'm going to have to make a little map to remind myself of stuff that I have around the house. That's nuts, a map in your own house. Slow down, quiet work. Yeah. I guess I like variety, but then I have an obsessive personality. So that's why, like, you guys saw a gazillion things going into my Etsy shop for a while, because I was, really OCD about working on kits. And it's like, okay, now it's time to go over and do some physical work. But then, of course, the weather's changing, and I'm going to have to get out and do some things in the yard. Actually, I would have done more in the yard last weekend, but we need wood chips really bad. And none of the guys have brought any over to us. We need like 10 dump truck loads of wood chips in the yard. And then I have a kid that just graduated high school that's willing to come over and shovel stuff for me, thank goodness. You've been mapping your studio so that you know what's where, Liz? Is that what you're doing? I'm not insane for thinking doing that might be a good idea. Yeah, it's like when you get in that mode, and especially when you learn something new, Lorna, like that, it's like, oh my gosh, I want to do that. I remember when I first figured out how to do layers with my editing, it was just like a light bulb moment, and all these things were unlocked and all this potential for stuff that I could do. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that's all I wanted to do. Okay, oh my goodness, That's all I wanted to do. Okay, my rings don't want to stay on. I need to remember to start putting on jewelry before I come here. My husband bought me so much beautiful jewelry over the years, and since I don't go work in an office, I don't really have a reason to wear it, and I should wear it for being on camera. Tailor Made Journals is Lorna. Elaine, hello. Welcome. PNGs are for making digitals. Yes, the nice thing about a PNG is you can resize it without distorting it. So it is very handy for making digitals. All right, I'm liking this one better, although I have less options, so I need to be okay with duplicating things. See, now I wish I could be one of those people that just reaches in, grabs something, and uses it. I think too much. I did that when I was writing too. Although some of my favorite writing projects have been from exercises where you have limitations and usually some kind of structural limitations. I go to this retreat every November with a group of writers and artists, and we play this game where we, have certain words and we have a time limit and we have to do it all. We have to come up with a poem. They usually end up being like little mini stories in like 7 minutes. It's so much fun, and they're hysterical. Oh my goodness. Sometimes having the constraints is actually a really good thing. Yeah, all those rabbit holes. It's like searching for images. I've got 2 image videos that I'm working on for you guys. Some really great places, but I'm like beating my head against the wall navigating the sites, and so I'm trying to break them down very simply to make it easy for people to follow. And I'm thinking I'm going to do a video about Pinterest, even though in every one of my image videos I talk about not assuming that something that's on Pinterest is in public domain. I think I need to do a video that's just dedicated to Pinterest. It'll be one of those with a clickbaity junk journal. What should I call it, huh? Would you click through on something like that to read more about it, hopefully? Yeah, that's the same way I am, Lorna. I go down the rabbit hole until I'm burnt out on it. And luckily now the rabbit hole is not shopping for art supplies. I need to go back. I think I missed some things. So Liz, yes, okay, so you are mapping your studio so that you can actually find things. I think that's so smart. Carolyn, hi! I didn't get back to your question about how I get the fabrics out of the Fabmo things, but I give them to my husband and he takes over with his handy dandy pliers and pulls them apart for me because I'm not strong enough. That's how I get the fabric out of the upholstery sample books. It helps to have somebody with muscles around. They use industrial glue or something on those things. Yeah, Robin, it's ridiculous the stuff that we, convince ourselves that we need to have when we don't need it. I could probably, host a craft retreat here once a month for a year, and we would not make a dent in anything except for probably glue. That's sad. That's ridiculous. I'm trying not to feel guilty about it, because it's water under the bridge and you got to go forward. But sometimes you're just like, oh my goodness, how nutso was I? Pretty nutso. So my husband would say, that's part of your charm. Bless his heart for loving me despite all this crazy stuff. And it's a challenge. It's like, okay, poems are great challenges to write when you have those constraints. When you're told you can write a haiku and it has to have, 3 lines, and they have to go 5, 7, 5 syllables. And when you're told that you have those kind of constraints and you think, oh no, I can't do it, I can't do it. And then amazingly, fabulous stuff comes out and you're like, wow, I could do it. It's the same way with our art. You know, you think, oh, I'm going to go use such and such that I still have. And then you discover you don't have any more of whatever that is. And you have to come up with a substitute. And that's where some of the greatest artistic ideas come from, is suddenly you have to make do with what you have, and something even better than you imagined comes out. Yeah, no guilt. It'd be nice to live with no guilt all the time. I can't quite, I'm not there yet. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. And when we have family members, you know, we all have somebody in our life, either a family member or a friend, acquaintance, a coworker, that just makes it hard to not feel guilty sometimes. Not to go down a negative path. I'm not going there, because who wants to hear that kind of stuff? Okay, a Pinterest video then gets a thumbs up. So should it have one of those like really scary titles when all the COPPA stuff was going around? You know, is Pinterest legal? I had a whole bunch of brainstorms. I can't remember all of them. Got to make a short title. Pinterest, legal or not? Pinterest images, legal or not? You think the Pinterest police would come after me if I did that? You know, it's a great place to find images, but then you just need to do your research from there to confirm that it's okay. Poems and haikus are, yes, from the heart and from life. I used to be in this competition. I did it for like 3 or 4 years. And in fact, I think it's probably going on now, with the children's book writers. And it was, it was author-letes. So spell the word author and then add L-E-T-E-S to it. I can't remember now what it's called, but the guy started it, and it was a competition. And so all of us poets, he had these words seated like it was a basketball tournament, and we would get a word, and we would be told, you know, we had to write, I think we had like 24 hours to write a poem based on that word. And it had to be for elementary school kids, and then everybody would vote on it, and the winner of that match went on to the next match. And that was how I wrote my very first sestina, which was a type of poetry that I had never written before. And gosh, it was so hard, but it was so wonderful to do. I was so proud of myself when I was done. It was amazing. Shoot, now I'm going to have to go find. Ed DeSilver did it, and I cannot remember what it was called. Hey, Tuesday, if you can sew and talk, I'm impressed. Lorna, I know, preaching to the choir, preaching to the choir. People don't want to do their homework. There's so many things out there. It's just, it's there. And then people think the rules don't apply to them. Oh, no, it doesn't apply to, okay. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll map out the rest of the Pinterest video. It doesn't have to be long, but I just, you know, and it's going to be some shock value, because I need people that think that they're following the rules to stop and watch it and realize that they probably aren't. And what's really hard is if you don't follow the rules now because you think, oh, I'm not selling what I'm making. But then what happens? You've built up this great library of images, and then suddenly you decide you want to sell stuff, or you want to make, you know, digitals of them yourself, and you can't remember what you got legally and what you got, you know, illegally. Then you have to, if you're going to follow the rules, you have to go through the whole process of looking everything up again. And I speak from experience there, because when I used to teach writing 20 years ago, I had a lot of images. And this was, you know, early internet days. Things weren't, you know, we weren't doing a lot of things online yet. And I had them on my computer, but I couldn't tell you where they came from. So then when I started making digitals for my Etsy shop, suddenly I had, you know, like 500 images because I'm, like I said, obsessive, major collector. I had all these images. I didn't know if I could use them or not. So now if there's some that I really like, I have to look up each one to confirm whether they're okay for me to use or not. Hey, Penny. Gosh, you guys, my design team is Kiss Kiss. And I think she's got Kiss Kiss Jr. in there. She's got the vintage photos of children in it. It is so adorable. You need to click on Penny's name and go check out that video of hers. It was so sweet. I'm so lucky to have these talented artists helping me get information out about my kits because I have been really slow. I made a whole bunch of kits and yet I have not been working on them myself. I have started planning out what I'm going to do with some of them, but I'm behind. So I'm really glad when they're able to help me out by showcasing them for me. Joy, happy to have you here. Thanks so much for stopping by. You have an awesome day. Hope the rest of your day is everything you need it to be and more. Almost done. I know we've had this conversation before, but I'm so much more productive when I'm chatting with you guys. That's why I like to come on and do this kind of stuff on a live, because I would, if I was just watching TV, I would stop, I'd get up, go get something to eat. I'd, you know, play with the dog, who is still sleeping. That is bizarre. Some days she's like all full of energy and she barks through the whole lives, and she hasn't even moved off her spot in the chair. She got to chase some deer yesterday, so maybe she's still tired from that. Oh, you're welcome, Creative. I'm sorry if you said your name earlier. I didn't catch it. If you did. There are a whole bunch of new places that people are sharing links to, and I really need to give you guys some hints on navigating them, because not everything, like the bioheritage diversity library, it's not all okay to use. If you go to Flickr, I think pretty much everything that they post on their Flickr page is, but somebody was posting recently the link to their main page, and I need to show you guys how to navigate that, because some of the stuff there is still, they were gifts to the library for research. And while you could use them in your personal journals, you could not turn around and sell them. Sabine, is that how you say it right? Sabine? Yeah, Lorna, there's restrictions sometimes. And if you don't know that, you just assume because somebody shared it that, oh, wow, all of these things are great. And there's a lot of fabulous sites out there that also are very great to use, except they really require attribution. So I don't know, would you guys want to see a video that showed you places that had images you could use, but that you would have to give attribution to them when you use the images? Because I think that's kind of dicey for some people. And I know there's people that would just say, you know, oh, I didn't see that, I'm not going to do that. The UK's got some beautiful digital collections that they've released, but they all want you to give attribution, which is totally understandable. I mean, I'm fine with that, but I'm nervous about posting a video about how to navigate it, and knowing that a lot of people are not going to follow it. Yeah, there's a lot of the heritage stuff that, and what's really strange, like if you find something that's a volume, you know, there's like 12 volumes in the set, you have to check each one, because volumes, you know, 1, 3, and 5 might not be okay to use because they were gifts to the library from some other group, and yet the rest of them might be okay. Oh, she did. I'll have to go check out her video and see what she had to say. 49 dragonflies. I got to write that down. Barbara. Yeah, the blue one's coming out a lot better, which I think is telling me I need to do the torn edges. Even though it takes longer, I don't care. It gives me more time to chat. All right, where's my big flower going to go? My big flower is going to go right there. I've never seen Barbara's videos, so thank you for that recommendation. I appreciate it. There are so many videos I haven't seen. Hey, Shell. Hey, Mary Lou. Yeah, Robin, the sets, you just really have to be careful. I'm liking the blues a lot better than I like the greens. I might have to do another green and then tear things up. All right, 2 little spots here. Now I could take one of my blue Neocolor crayons and go around the edges. And one more spot right there. See, I wait too much. Take too much time. Yeah, I know, Lorna. There's just not enough time, and I feel guilty. I used to watch a lot more before I realized that one of my keys to productivity is quiet. I don't do well with a lot of noise. So, and my husband works at home most of the time. So even though it's not noise, he's in meetings, I still have sound around me all the time. I really like this one. This one came out nice. I like the blue. I like that. When you look at it with, you got the straight edges, and then you got the torn edges. Yeah, I'm going to stick with that. Torn edges, even though it takes longer. I'm catching up here on chat. Elaine, who are you collabing with? Can you tell us so we can look for it? I have a very long overdue collab that I owe to Rosemary Morris. Sorry, Rosemary. But I am getting back on track. Whoops, I forgot to pick up my scraps. Mix all my colors up here. Because I'm so organized, we don't want to mix up all the colors, right? Ha ha ha, you can laugh now. Yeah, torn edges, so much better. I'm not going to do any more of the straight edges ones. All right, let's do, this is orange and yellowy kind of stuffs. $49 dragonflies, thank you. Okay, and I'm saving aside the little solid color ones. All right, if we start with something with a big edge, we don't have to do all of it, and we can cover. Wow. I didn't used to need quiet. I used to have music going all the time, but I can't even listen to music much anymore. I don't know what it is. I think that, that we went through a really rough year a while back with one of my kids, and it just sort of just made me like the peace and quiet, just to kind of calm down and settle my brain and focus on what was important. And now I just discovered that I craft better when I have the quiet. When I don't have the quiet, it's much harder for me. Yellow and orange, go. See, if I'm cleaning house, I have got to have background noise. Cannot clean house without the background noise. It's just very strange. I am an odd person. What can I say? let's see if we can take that long edge. All right, I can cover that up. If I'm cleaning house, the music has to go on really loud. And I've got my house cleaning playlist usually, or I'll turn on Pandora, and I've got a station I call Happy. But I say that like I clean house often. I do not. Thankfully, I have an indulgent husband who does not mind living in the midst of all my clutter. Bless his heart for putting up with it, because I am a clutter bug. He is too, but he keeps his pretty much contained to his office. And I have the whole rest of the house and the side yard and the big deck and the backyard. Yeah. Oh, I like that side better. Okay. Whoops. Oh, a weekend on your own. Yeah, every so often my husband, he plays Dungeons and Dragons with a group of friends. And when he takes off on a day like that, it's usually a Saturday, and he's gone until the wee hours of the morning. I'm already in bed by the time he comes home. And it's just like a day that's like made for doing nothing but crafting, because there's just all this wonderful quiet. And I mean, and he understands that I need my quiet. If I tell him, like if he's, got music going or something in his office, I can shut the door. That's not a big deal. Yeah, my husband, some of the people he's played with since college. And then they've added a few new people over the years. Now everybody's we used to all live in the same town. Now we've moved some distance away, so they don't get together quite as often as they used to. I tried playing it, but I thought I would like it more because of the storytelling aspect, but I'm not big on fantasy, so that didn't do it for me. Elaine, you've got a long video. Oh, cool. Yeah, Robin, my dog distracts me a lot when she wants to go. That's why I'm just so surprised. She's moved from her chair in the living room to one of her beds in my studio. She's never this quiet. Of course, this probably means nobody's walking by outside either. People go by and she has to go into protect mode. And I haven't seen the bunnies for a while. They go back and forth along the side yard, and that really gets her hyped up. Let's see, I don't like that. Oh, so hopefully you didn't suffer any damage with the storm. I am sad to think that we have had probably all the rain we're going to get this year, which was not much. We got about 10 inches December and January, and that's it. There is no rain forecast here at all, so we're going to have a scary fire season. We are looking at generators so that we can keep the fridge running. Somebody on our little local neighborhood group mentioned a solar generator that they were really happy with, so my husband's looking at that. Should be enough to, if we just get something to run the refrigerator, that's fine. I have enough power blocks to keep the computer and the phone going for a week, which is usually about the longest we'll be without power. Yeah, for the whole rest of the year. We don't get a lot of rain here. We just don't. We get a lot of fog in the summer, which does help, but we do not get a lot of rain. Every year when our homeowners insurance comes due, we hold our breath, because in our area here in the mountains, a lot of the insurance companies are canceling policies. And suddenly people are scrambling and they're paying like 3 times as much for their fire insurance because the companies don't want to carry it in this fire zone area anymore. I mean, we've got, huge redwood trees all around us. So ours came up last month and we're like, another year we're safe. It's really scary to think about because it's not cheap insurance anyways. And then to have to pay a super premium because you're in a fire zone is not fun. Wow, so you've just been getting pounded, Elaine. That's horrible. We had, for us, gale winds, and those were like 50 miles an hour about a week ago. But I know that's nothing compared to what a lot of the other places have. And the worst thing that happened for us was just some furniture blew around on the patio. We did not lose any branches, which was great. Our power company was out here last week cutting all the trees. Oh, we did lose power for almost a full day, which is what started the talk about finding a generator finally. But the power company has been coming out because of all the lawsuits from the big California fires last year. They've been trimming all the trees that are growing into the power lines. Wow, 70 to 80. I can't even, well, I can fathom it. That's the thing, is I can totally imagine it. And that's scary because we could not believe what we saw with just 50 miles an hour. We're at the top of a ridge, and I just watched the trees just like practically bend in half. Luckily, a few years ago, we lost the one oak tree that was big enough to actually hit the house, and it kind of came down on part of the deck roof, but didn't cause any other damage. More rain this weekend. Wow. Yeah, for a couple of days I saw rain in our forecast and I got really excited. And then we got the winds and I guess it just blew the storm out of our path. So yeah, when summer comes, we will have a lot of forced power outages. And since that started last year, at least we have kind of an idea what's coming and we can sort of make plans for it. Last year, we weren't quite as prepared as we wanted to be. So we just had, a huge ice chest that we kept filled with ice, but get the generator before summer hits, we'll be a little bit more prepared. Wales is protect. Oh, wow. Oh, Yvonne. Oh, heartbreaking to think of all the disasters. Just one right after the other like that. It's too much. The mind just. I like these papers a lot better glued down than I did when they were big. It's so weird looking at something in the camera and seeing it, that little delay, and trying to figure out what direction things are going. If you are enjoying hanging out here with me, I sure would appreciate a thumbs up. YouTube counts those for us and gives us little YouTube brownie points that they keep behind the scenes somewhere. These are going to be fun to work on. Yeah. No more straight edges for me. So then the thing is not to save all these little pieces, right? These little ones like this. It's so hard not to save. It really is. I suppose I could just dump all those in my paper making bag. I have not made paper with paint on it. Guess it would just probably make mud, but that's okay. Muddy paper's not a bad thing. Yeah, Yvonne, what's next? You don't want to think about what's next. Our imaginations can picture it way too easily. Lorna, I love you too. I love you too. You know what? Thumbs down is actually considered an interaction too. YouTube doesn't care whether they're up or down. It's just thumbs down make me sad. The YouTube journey is really an interesting one. Oh, looks like I skipped part of the edge there, so we'll just fix that like that. All right. Yeah, I couldn't believe it when I ended up with so many subscribers this morning. I don't know. I have so much fun here that it's just really grateful to have friends that I can share it with. And the lives are so easy. There's no pressure when you're doing a live. It's like, this is what I'm working on. You hang out, you don't hang out, you like it, you don't like it. I'm not at a finished project stage yet with this thing, so it doesn't matter. But these are going to be fun papers to work on. Not all my... I got a lot of Franken paper in my future, I can see too. I need some different patterns. Yeah, I changed. Robin said she noticed things were it was filed under people and blogs. I think that's from when I very first started my YouTube channel, like, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago. And I was going to do things about my native garden to go along with my garden blog. I should probably move it to under how to. I need to reset up my default upload things about my channel. I don't know how much that matters. I've had a few thumbs down. It's interesting. The thumbs down, I had a thumbs down on the last video I did showing my Etsy kits that I had just added to the shop. So that was kind of disheartening. It's like, wow, okay. And then I have a video that shows all the children's books that I had published, and I was offering them for sale because I still have a lot of the books in the garage, and I really need to move them out of here. And so I had that, and I got 1 or 2 thumbs down on that. So I don't know if it was because it wasn't art, but, you know, most of the people that watch my channel know that I was a writer for 30 years before I even thought about playing with art. I don't know, it was, yeah, they hurt. They're like, wow. But then I know there's some people that they go around just looking for things that they can give a thumbs down to. And so we need to really let that go. I know, Robin, it's insane, right? Why would they give a thumbs down to that? But I think it's sometimes there's people that just are trolling to leave crappy comments to people. And I'm grateful at least that it's just a thumbs down. I've only had one person leave a comment that I had to delete, knock on wood, so far. Hopefully people don't watch this now and say, oh, I need to leave her a crappy comment. Words hurt, you know, and especially when they're right there and you can see them all the time. Orange is not one of my favorite colors, but I am liking this. It's coming together. Yeah, I think you're right. A lot of times people do not like the beginnings. There's some videos I've gone to where, you know, I'm tempted just to walk away because their intros are like a full minute long, or, you know, the pros say, I think it's supposed to be like 5 or 10 seconds if you're going to have an intro at all, but that you really don't need it. You need to just get right into your video. But I mean, if they give a thumbs down for the intro, why don't they stick around a little bit longer and see? They might like what comes next. Oh, Yvonne, you're so right. I have done that too. I've also, I mean, she said she'd accidentally, hit a thumbs down, not paying attention. I have done that myself. It's like, oh, I mean to give a thumbs up, and then I look up and realize I've done a thumbs down, and I feel so bad, like there's this neon sign going out over my head saying, Susan just gave this video a thumbs down. That's boo hiss. Oh, I felt horrible. But I have also, more times than I can think of, I have unsubscribed to somebody while I was watching their video, and I didn't mean to do that either. I've just, my fingers up there, and usually it's when I'm thinking about putting them on a playlist, and then I look up and realize, oh, I just unsubscribed to that person, and I'm glad I catch it there, but I think about how many people have I lost because I didn't catch it when I was watching their video, and I'm no longer subscribed to them. So that's kind of frustrating to think about. Yeah, and then same thing, Lorna, embarrassed to resub because people get these notifications. Well, they do on me because I leave all my stuff public. You want to know something about me, it's out there. You want to know who I'm subscribed to, you can find out. You want to know exactly how many subscribers I have, you can find out. Sharing knowledge is important to me. Keeping it secret nobody wins. But yeah, I had to do that with somebody that I've watched for a long time recently, and I thought, oh wow, she's going to get a notification that I just subscribed and going to be thinking, gee, I thought you were subscribed to me for the last year. Oh well. So if my design team members suddenly get an email saying that I subscribed to them, please know it was because I was a screw up and I accidentally unsubscribed while I was adding you to a playlist. Well, I am glad to be using up some of these papers, but they're not going down quite as fast as I thought they would. Of course, it takes longer to do the tearing. That would probably be a good thing for me to do while we're watching TV tonight, is just tear some of these ahead. Should be using my dollar store glue since I know I'm going to do other things to them. I was so good today. I had to go out to the pharmacy this morning and pick up a prescription. And the pharmacy is in the same little shopping area that the thrift store is in. And I did not stop and go in the thrift store. Do I get, extra gold stars for that? Because, wow, that was hard, people. That was hard. It was right there, and there was a parking space right in front, and I did not go in. Because I just went last week. And if I can keep myself to maybe once a month, honestly, the only things I go in now looking for is I look for fibers, and I'm looking for the sheer fabrics that I can do my do over things, because I've got all these things that I want to do with sheer fabrics. That's all I'm looking for. Fibers, well, and vintage lace, but I never find vintage lace in our thrift stores, and sheer fabrics. But if I can tell myself just once a month, it's my reward. Double dessert. Ooh, ooh. I need to have my husband make us another one of those choco flans that he made for Valentine's Day. Oh my gosh, that was good. I don't know if you follow me on Facebook. I posted a picture of this phenomenal dessert my husband made. Yeah, I'm the lucky girl whose husband cooks for us. He does like 90% of the cooking, and probably all of the shopping for us. I'm so spoiled. But he made this unbelievable dessert from some famous chef that when he told other people who made, whose recipe he was using, they're like, that guy's stuff is so hard. But he said really it was much easier than he thought it was going to be. And it was just phenomenal, and we ate it for like 4 days. It's his hobby. FOMO. Okay, I don't know that acronym, Yvonne. What is FOMO? If we go to Santa Cruz and I can go to Gray Bears, to the old, it's a different kind of thrift shop, then I will go in no matter if I was just there the previous week. I have not made it over on one of their fill-a-bag Fridays, but our little local Goodwill, they don't have turnover fast enough for me to go in no matter what. So once a month, I think, is enough for me to keep on top of what they have that's new. Whoops. Oh, fear of missing out. I love it. Fear of missing out. Okay. I have a lot of FOMO then. Thanks, Liz. I had not realized I had stacked up quite so many of them. Now it's going to make me want to get out the jelly plate and play again. Of course, I've got a bunch of leaves that have been pressed for me to use on the jelly plate. I'll do some things with that. Try and overlap here. Try to touch on 3 sides. If something is overlapping on 3 sides, it just seems to settle better. It's my collage rule of 3s. I love that, FOMO. That's my something new I learned today, FOMO. What do we need? Nope, we need, come on, just a little bit more, something a little different. And I think I have another stack of prints that I haven't done anything with. Yeah, I think tearing all the straight edges off of these things will be a good TV activity. I need more of those when in the evenings after work. That's my husband's relaxation, so we watch a lot of TV. Lately, we have been watching an old series. I think it's Australian. Maybe it's New Zealand. I think it's Australian, though. It's called Rush. And we're really enjoying it. But I tell you, whoever did the soundtrack for it, or the score for the music for it, I am just on the edge of my seat. It's just one of those, it's like hearing the Jaws music constantly. I am just so, I can't watch it just before bed. I need to have something else after that, because otherwise I'm too stressed out. Robin, thanks so much for spending some time here. Appreciate seeing you here. Whispering Cauldron, thank you, thank you. Have a great evening. Oh gosh, I've been gluing for an hour and a half. I guess maybe, I don't know. Should I keep going when I finish this one? Anybody want to hang around, or should I call it quits? Liz, are we getting close to your time for your show? Yeah, Penny, it's just, we're on season 3, I think, right now. We're kind of watching things out of order because we had just finished the first 2 seasons of The Heart Guy, which I love. And so then it's fun to see some of the characters from that in Rush. One of the things we love about watching shows from Australia and New Zealand is the cultural differences. My husband loves to look up things while we're watching TV, and so he's forever educating us. So 6, and I don't know what, so we're at 3. Okay, so we're okay for a little bit, Liz. An ephemera book today. Oh, cool. If you guys have not checked out Liz's channel, you might want to go ahead and check her out, because she's always got some great ideas. I have one more color left. I figure the colors are more interesting than my other ones. I do my purples and pinks. How's that? I did orange. And I'll do the purples and pinks, and then make me think about Mardi Gras and remember living in New Orleans and all that fun stuff. You are welcome, Liz. What are you fussy cutting, Yvonne? I have not fussy cut for a long time, and I'm okay with that. My trouble is that either I'll have so much ephemera that it wouldn't fit in the book, or that I'll go through it all and then I'll have to fill it all right away. Maybe is it going to be a book that stands on its own, or is it going to be like an insert? I think maybe I need to do some ephemera inserts, and then these things that I'm doing for the flow journals, I could put them in an ephemera insert. Oh, ick on damaging your jelly plate. Oh, no. I have not played with brushes yet. And no, I am not going to run right out and buy some. You know, even when I'm just using paint, my jelly plates are really, really messy. Spring flowers. Yvonne is especially cutting spring flowers. Yeah, I am. I used to love the fussy cut, but now since my shoulder's so bad, I have to be very careful about what I decide to fussy cut. Yeah, Creative, mine, or Sabine, mine is very, very stained. I'm okay with that. So Liz, you're making an ephemera book. Yeah, my books are always fat. I just can't help it. I just, we have so many ideas, right? It's hard to slow down and not overdo things. Yeah, I'm tempted, not necessarily for a cutting machine, but I tell you, I am tempted for something that would emboss for me. I do not have anything that would emboss, and I do occasionally like that look. And it's just really hard to do any kind of embossing unless you have a lot of brute strength without a machine. Okay, Liz, so I have time then to do my purples. That will feel like a good accomplishment for the day. And then I'm going to figure out how in the heck to do it so that next time I want to go live using my Logitech, I can do it quickly. I don't know why it kept telling me the camera was in use. So I close out one program and set everything up again, and then the camera was in use. Wine. Don't need any wine. Wine is for later. Yeah, I'm afraid if I bought a machine, then I would be tempted to buy too many things to go with it to emboss, and I don't know that I would do it often enough. So you would emboss with a stylus and a light box. Well, that's interesting. I have a light box out in the garage somewhere. I think I used it once. I think I need to make friends with somebody that has an embossing machine, and then I can do it the easy way. I can just go visit with a friend and run things through their machine. I just don't have room for another big something. I don't. Well, Zoe has come out of my studio and is now crashed on the floor in here, but definitely low-key day for her, going to the other bed. This dog has more places to sit in the house than we do. She's got a bed in the living room here by the TV. She's got a bed in my husband's office. She's got a bed in my studio, and she's got a bed in our bedroom. Tuesday, you have an embossing machine? Yeah, I think what I need to do is think about what I might use it for, how I might use, you know, what would be best for me. I don't know. I'm so excited. I ordered myself a few new punches. I realized that my paper punches that I had were just my basic shapes, my squares and circles. I didn't have some of the other ones that I wanted. So I ordered a couple of those, and I ordered some of the long ones to do, you know, like the side of the page. And I finally figured out how you were supposed to use them, follow the little pattern on it to line everything up. I felt like such a silly because I'd had one of those for like a year. If you don't know what I'm talking about, let's see if I can reach this one. So I had this one for a long time, but I never paid attention to the picture on either side was the thing that you were supposed to line it up with. I felt so silly when I read that on the back of the package. Oh gosh, okay, so, oh, Yvonne, okay, then I feel better. Zoe's got 1, 2, 3, 4, plus one outside. You got a machine for 20 bucks. I keep looking, I think if I saw one at Goodwill, I would probably buy it. So the electric one, that might be something to think about because then I wouldn't have to worry about my shoulder. Trying to use bigger pieces here so it'll go a little faster. What kind of dog, Yvonne? We are, Zoe luckily is all white because one of the things we battle with here at this time of year, since it's still so damp outside, even though we're not getting rain, the lower property doesn't get a lot of sun. So it's all, you know, shaded, and we have so many ticks, and just ticks are just hideous. I hate them. And I probably pick, you know, 5 or 6 ticks off of her every single day. So that means every time she comes in, she knows she has to stay, you know, outside the patio door while we, you know, do a tick inspection. And then I have a little jar of soapy water waiting right there so I can keep putting them in. Hey, Margaret. So glad you finally made it. Yeah, I'm on my last one, but I'm going to be here for a little bit more. Dane Cross Mastiff. Oh my goodness. Hood here has been walking lately a Great Dane. Just the sweetest thing. Zoe's a brat and doesn't want to make friends, but sweet, sweet thing. Penny, yes, we need more possums. Although the trouble with possums is Zoe can catch them. And so, you know, if I don't know they're back there, you know, she caught one, and I mean, luckily, you know, he wasn't hurt, but I feel so bad because she's just so prey driven. She just takes off after him when she sees him in the yard. But then we knew that he was using our back pathway. So then each night when we went out, I was able to watch for him and call her off before she got to him. But I feel so bad when she gets them. But possums are great for the ticks. Margaret, I'm not doing anything real earth-shattering today, just trying to use up some of my scraps to make some base papers, masterboards. Yeah, I hate the ticks. I hate the ticks so much. You know, and she's on her tick medication. But this the first few years we lived here, it wasn't an issue because, you know, the plants hadn't really grown in yet. But now the garden is starting to take off, and it's an issue. Thanks, Margaret. Trying to use up some painty papers and do first layer. And what's nice is since these are all painted papers, I can do whatever I want with them. I don't have to worry about breaking any copyright rules. Wow, Paula, really? That's interesting. A pest. Our pests here are raccoons, although nobody's hunting them down, and rats. Not a fan of the rats. Not many people are a fan of the rats. Although my kids both had pet rats when they were little, and I was totally fine with that. They were sweethearts. But outside, we've got a couple areas in one of the retaining walls where we've got just stacked retaining walls with stacked trunks from trees that we cut down. And then the trees grew back. It wasn't that we cut them down to take them out. It's that they needed to be taken to the ground. And so we've got a retaining wall we made out of that. And they finally shifted enough that we can see all the holes. And we got to get out there and stuff the holes with dirt so that the rats don't decide to nest in there, because it's perfect rat spot. Starlings. Oh. Margaret, yeah, I hate the ticks so much. Oh, they scare me because I'm afraid I won't notice, when they're on me, if Zoe brings them in the house. Elaine, not having a dog, we're just, I don't know. We lasted, I think, 5 days when we lost our last one before we went and got Zoe. I just can't be without a dog. Yeah, Paula, you live in an interesting area to worry about as far as the introduced animals. Of course, the snakes, you got the snakes. You got a lot of other scary animals there. You got a lot of other things that'll like kill you in a heartbeat. Again, one of the things we like about watching shows from different areas is we learn about that sort of thing. Okay, don't think. I'm trying not to think. Lala, you made it. Hello, hello. Happy to see you here. You guys are making me feel so loved. I think this is my most thumbs up I've ever had on a live, so I'm grateful for that too. And I was right. This is the perfect thing to do while I'm doing a live. It's just kind of, I don't have to think that much. I have to think a little bit, but I don't have to think that much. And then I think later today, I'm going to work on planning out that Pinterest video, because I've been thinking about it for a while. But we're all going to have to go over and watch Liz make her ephemera book, because I bet that is going to be awesome. And then everybody's going to be super organized. And then everybody's going to have to go make videos about making ephemera so we can fill our new ephemera books. Great white sharks. Don't you have snakes, though? Paula, don't you have snakes? Penny, snakes. Where are the snakes? Australia, New Zealand, snakes, spiders, killer spiders. And who's got the crabs? Somebody shoot. We were watching Sea Change, I think it is. Killer crabs, humongous killer crabs. Snakes and crabs. Okay. It's Australia. Ugh. Yeah, I'm snakes. I'm okay with spiders, because all we really have to worry about here are the black widows and brown recluse, and we do have those here in my area, but they're pretty easy for me to spot. Snakes I have a hard time with, although I would like to get some gopher snakes here, because we have a bad time with gophers, really bad time with gophers. So much so that we actually pay a guy every month to come out here and set the gopher traps and then collect the gopher traps, and he catches, 2 or 3 every month in the yard. Bye, Lorna. Have a great evening. Okay, so it's Australia is the land of the scary then. All I know is that we'll be watching something and they'll be talking about some kind of killer animal, and I'll have to ask my husband, is that real? Is that true? Or is that something they're making up? And it's always true. It's always true. This one doesn't want to fit anywhere. This will do that. Oh, allergic to spider bites. I've had a couple that have gotten bad, but not, not allergic. It's just that they were bad spider bites. I had one on my, on this side of my wedding ring, and on this side. So it made it really hard. I couldn't get my ring off. Had to go have my ring cut off because my finger swelled up so much. Okay, what am I missing here? Everything in Aussie. What's a gopher is an underground critter that looks like a kind of like a mole, except moles aren't as destructive as gophers, and they eat all the roots. I mean, you'll just see plants like go completely disappear because the gophers are tunnel, and they make all these tunnels, and then you have these little gopher hills that come up, and you about break your leg just walking in the yard because there's all these gopher holes. They're very, very destructive pests. Yeah, the brown recluse, I'm sure we have them around here, but I haven't seen them. We have a lot of black widows, lots and lots of black widow spiders, on our property. So I'm always conscious of that whenever I've got my outside work shoes that are on the back porch, my gloves. I make sure that I check all those out, that nothing has crawled in them. Oh. Ah, okay, yes, there you go. Moose. Yeah, they kill all the flowers. Well, and what the gophers don't kill, the rabbits are a pest here. Oh, they're adorable, but dang, they are killing everything in the yard. I did not plant anything. Normally I get my native plants out like in December. That's the best time so that they can get some of the rain. I didn't even bother this year because we have not figured out a way to keep the rabbits out of part of the yard. So they're taking down everything. And I mean, I love them. They're adorable, but they are really, really destructive. Black widows are like your red black. Oh, haven't heard of that one. Spiders are so sneaky. And I mean, we have, both of my kids are terrified of spiders, and I feel bad. It's like, around here, it's just a way of life. Oh, there's another spider, take it outside. But at least the black widows, they're pretty easy to spot. You know where their favorite places are. And we have a lot of birds, so they offer a lot of food for the birds. This year, I have to decide, when I see caterpillars, am I going to let them do their own thing in the yard and feed the birds, or am I going to start taking them in and hand raising them? I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do with that. I had a lot of caterpillars last year, and then we had a family of robins, and they pretty much took everything, which was fine. I mean, it's, it takes like, shoot, I forget, it was like 400 caterpillars to go through one clutch of, I don't know if it was robins or chickadee. I think it was chickadees, which normally have like maybe 3 or 4 chicks. So 400 caterpillars. I have never had yet 400 caterpillars in the yard. So it's kind of hard, as much as I love the butterflies, it's kind of hard to feel bad about that happening, because gosh, the birds need to eat too. Ah, okay. Yvonne is a red blacks or a black widow with a red stripe on their back. Okay. Yeah, Lala, those hiding spiders, those are scary to think about. That's really scary to think about. Okay, I got a couple of holes here. When I had horses as a kid, I used to leave my boots out at the ranch, and that's one of the things that used to scare me is that I would step into my boots and there would be a black widow in them. So afraid of that. Something I don't have a lot of. Let's see, maybe this will work. Yeah, that's it, Sabine. They're right there. You're watching them and you watch your plants just disappear right in front of your eyes. So frustrating. Now, if we're outside and they're digging around, Zoe is a pretty good hunter. And so she will go for them. But the trouble is that when Zoe's hunting, she's digging up the yard as she's, hunting for them. So she does her own kind of damage. But she has caught them for us and brought them in. Almost done here. Yeah, we shake the shoes. That's for sure. Adder snakes. Eee. We've only seen one snake in the yard since we've been here. We've been here, what, 5 years now? And it was a little, it's called a sharp tail snake. We had never seen it before. And so we just kind of moved it to a safer place for it. And they stay pretty much under rocks. You don't really see them. So I think that is it. Let's cut some of the excess off here. I sure do appreciate everybody hanging out with me today. My goal is to get on one. I've tried to schedule a regular time and haven't been very successful, but maybe I'll try that. Maybe I'll try to be here next Wednesday at noon California time. We might be doing more of the same thing. I don't know. Let's cut the others and then we can see what we've got. Okay, Liz, if you guys want to see Liz making her ephemera folder, make sure you click on her name so you can check out what she's going to be working on later today. Hey, Dee Dee. Hi. Happy to see you popping in before you go get your girl. Yeah. It's been a good time chatting and gluing and just making some first layers on things. Let's see, what do we have? And now I have another big mess on my desk. So we have that, Oh, let's cut them all, right, Susan? Let's cut them all. No need to rush. I need just a minute to cut these off and then we'll finish and be able to go see Liz. And then I think I will be doing some gesso. I'll probably just do a video of when I do the next layers of these. So pretty easy to see. I am not going to be doing the straight edges anymore. The soft edges just feel much more me. Whoops, I can see going through there. I've got a couple of holes to fill. It's funny how just cutting off the edges on these things makes it easier to get a picture of what it's going to look like. Dee Dee, I saw you posted a new video. I'm anxious to go check out what you're doing with that fascinating corset cover. All right, so we have blue. We have green. We have the purple. We have the orange. Oh, and I didn't cut this one, but we do have a brown. So yeah, I think I've got something to play with here. This will be fun. We'll do some, I'm going to do some borders around them, and then I'll do some gesso. And then I don't know what. Blue I think is my favorite. Because I love that flower. Yeah, exactly, Margaret. I made so many jelly prints, and they just weren't doing anything on their own for me. So I think they're going to be a lot more useful like this. And this is going to be the first page in a series of things to do with masterboards. Dee Dee, yes, you have made a challenge for yourself. Dee Dee is making a journal with a corset binding. So before we log off, you might want to check over and subscribe to her channel so you can see how she's putting together this journal with the fabulous corset binding. That one, Yvonne, that one came out good too. I've got a dark purple neocolor. I think I'll go around all the edges with that. Well, I didn't think they were pretty when they were first done, Lala. Yeah, not a fan of the straight edges. That was easy. Did that one time. Now I know. That one's going to get the most gesso on it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate everybody coming to hang out with me. I appreciate your thumbs up. And go check out some of the other people that have been here in the chat. They've all got some amazing channels, and they're doing some fascinating things with journal making and ephemera making and mixed media. And they're all just a bunch of really great people. Thank you so much for being here. I really, and yeah, just all of you. You have no idea how much you make me smile the rest of the day after having a successful live like this. All right, talk to y'all later. See you next time, hopefully with the next layer on these. Bye for now.